Have you ever wondered why Gemini seems to shine brightest at certain times of the year? January 2026 isn't just the first chapter of a new cycle. It's a time coded to activate specific gifts that only Geminis possess. Right now, while many are still trying to understand what is to come, Gemini already feels, anticipates, and transforms. It is the only sign with the gift of conscious duplicity, mind and spirit in continuous movement. And when Mercury aligns with the new frequencies of the month, what was intuition becomes direction. Gemini carries something that few can sustain, the ability to translate the invisible into words, to perceive nuances where others see only noise. In January, this power not only intensifies, it reveals itself in layers. These are almost imperceptible traits, behaviors, and signs that together form a profile of silent strength, social magnetism, and mental clarity that defies any common astrological standard. But have you, Gemini, already recognized these characteristics in yourself? Or are you still trying to fit into shallow definitions that don't represent you? What is about to be revealed in this video goes far beyond generic predictions. Let's explore 15 spiritual, emotional, and mental traits that make Gemini the most powerful sign in January, not by chance, but by cosmic configuration. If you feel that something inside you is already reacting to these words, then stay. What comes next may trigger memories that have been dormant. And if you're not a Gemini, keep going anyway, because knowing the strength of this sign can transform the way you see time, the cycles, and the signs of the universe. So, before we continue, I want you to consciously pause and observe yourself. Did any of these words awaken something inside you? Any feeling of familiarity, of recognition, as if I were describing exactly what you experience but never knew how to name? If so, comment below sincerely. I recognize this strength. This is not just a I phrase. It is an energetic record that reinforces what you carry. Your comment is more than engagement. It's confirmation. And if you've made it this far, it's because something in you understands the importance of diving into this content until the end. Each characteristic we will reveal has the potential to show you a new facet of your own power, or the power of someone you live with. Gemini is not just communication. It is encoding experiences. It is living language. It is intelligent adaptation. And in January, this becomes even more evident. So don't forget to leave a like now, because this helps this content reach other people who also need to recognize themselves. And if this is your first time here, subscribe to the channel to continue accessing content that doesn't just talk about signs, but about essence, destiny, and higher consciousness. This space was created for those who know that there is something beyond the obvious. And if you are here, it is because you already feel that. Now, yes, we can continue. The 15 most powerful Gemini traits of January 2026 are about to be revealed, one by one, and some of them perhaps you have never heard of. During January 2026, something rare happens in the sky, and for those who are Gemini, this movement does not go unnoticed. Mercury, the planet of the quick mind, lively language, and fluid adaptation, enters a specific alignment with Jupiter, the great amplifier of universal truths. This encounter is not common, and when it happens, it does not just happen behind the scenes in heaven. It changes the way Geminis perceive reality, as if a new type of perception was unlocked, opening channels of understanding that were not accessible before. This triad of energies, mind, word, and revelation, forms a field of direct activation for Gemini. And here we are not just talking about logical intelligence or good communication, as many people tend to limit this sign to. We are talking about an internal acceleration, an everyday clairvoyance, insights that seem to come from nowhere but arrive with frightening precision. During this month, Gemini doesn't think, he captures. He does not speak, he translates the invisible into living language. Words become codes, sentences carry frequencies, and the more aware the Gemini is of this process, the more he becomes a bridge between what is to come and what is already being felt. Jupiter's influence on this astral dance expands everything Mercury touches. This means that for Geminis, simple ideas can turn into complete visions. A light intuition can become a project. A seemingly random conversation can contain profound answers. This power does not come with an instruction manual, but it reveals itself at 3 specific moments throughout January. 3 dates when the energetic field will be open for deep intuitive downloads, absurd synchronicities of and revelations that cannot be ignored. And these are not just dates to stay tuned. They are true portals that can redefine the direction of those who are connected to their internal axis. I will reveal these dates later, but first, you need to understand what exactly is activating within Gemini during this period. Gemini has always had a reputation for being the sign of two faces, but this view is superficial, shallow, almost unfair to the complexity that this archetype carries. Gemini duality is not confusion, it's creative contrast. It is the rare ability to dialogue with extremes and find meaning between them. In January, this ability becomes clear. Gemini begins to understand in greater depth the two sides of everything, the visible and the invisible, the real and the symbolic, what was and what could be. This may seem chaotic to others, but for Gemini, this chaos is the fertile ground where revolutionary ideas are born, and January will be like an expanded field, where this ability manifests itself with more power and clarity than usual. Mercury's rulership also brings to light a greater sensitivity to words, not just the ones you say, but the ones you hear, and the ones you don't say. Everything carries a message. One look can reveal a hidden truth to you. A simple phrase heard in the street can seem like a message straight from the universe. If you're a Gemini, chances are you've experienced this more than once, but in January, this phenomenon becomes almost daily, as if the surrounding reality is trying to communicate with you in a personalized, unique way and waiting for you to understand the code. And that's where you need to be present, because these signs will not come with explanations, but with sensations. And if you're too distracted, you might ignore something that came to guide you. And here comes an important issue: the quality of your attention. In times where everything stimulates, distracts, fragments, including their own thoughts, Geminis run the risk of wasting the best of themselves. The Gemini mind is like an antenna. It captures everything. But when that antenna is overloaded with noise, the most important signals are lost. Therefore, this January, the key word is not speed. It is selective focus. It's not doing everything. It's choosing what really vibrates with your inner truth. Because when you silence useless stimuli, what remains is the voice of your own spirit, and it will be clearer than ever. Don't ignore this. Furthermore, Jupiter acts as a mirror of spiritual expansion. Everything that Gemini already carries, curiosity, reasoning, movement, gains a new layer, the spiritual reason behind the choices. This sign, so connected to the now, may begin to feel a greater calling, as if its abilities are directed towards something deeper. It's not just about understanding people or absorbing knowledge. In January, Gemini is invited to use their intelligence as a service to others, service to the truth, connection service. And this is an important change of axis, because it removes the Gemini from the surface and takes it deeper without losing lightness. This is also the month in which communication takes on an almost magical role. A Gemini's words can heal, transform, or open paths, as long as they are aligned with the heart. Anyone who speaks out of vanity will be ignored, but he who speaks with pure intent, even if silently, will be heard where he needs to be. That's why during this cycle, it's important to take care of what you share. The word has power, and for Gemini in January, it has the weight of prophecy. Choose carefully what you say, and most importantly, who you say it to. Answers will come faster than ever, and perhaps in ways you never imagined. Another activation that occurs during this period is that of spiritual memory. Many Geminis will have vivid dreams, more frequent feelings of déjà vu, or the impression of reliving situations that already happened in another life. Don't ignore these moments, even if you don't understand. Everything right away, write it down, record it, observe it. Your unconscious is closer to the surface, and sometimes a small memory can be the key to solving something that has been with you for years. This is no coincidence. This is revelation. And if you're a different sign, don't think that this isn't for you. The energy of Gemini spreads this month as a frequency that touches all those who are ready to listen beyond sound, to feel beyond touch, to see beyond appearance. Living with Geminis in January is living with walking mirrors. They reveal truths that were hidden without even realizing it. And this influence is transformative. Now, if you feel like any part of this text spoke to you, if something sparked inside, as if you were listening to yourself for the first time, I want you to record that in the comments, but not with any words, with conscience, with presence. Truly, right, I recognize this strength, and if you've experienced any of the signs I've described here, revealing dreams, words that came out of nowhere and changed everything, feelings that something is about to happen, then share. Your comment may open the eyes of those who are still in the dark. Don't forget to like the video right now if that made sense to you. Your like helps this content reach other people who are also in this awakening process. And if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, this is the time. And it's precisely here that we begin to touch on the most misunderstood and most powerful essence of the Gemini sign. The duality that so many judge, so many label as inconstancy, indecision, or even falsehood, is actually one of the most refined spiritual tools that a human being can carry. Gemini was designed by the universe to be a translator of realities. While many live trapped in a single way of seeing the world, Geminis move between internal and external dimensions with a disconcerting naturalness. One foot in what is rational, practical, earthly, and the other firmly anchored in the symbolic, the subtle, what cannot be explained with common logic. It's important to say this clearly. Gemini's mind doesn't work like most, and that's not a defect. It's code, spiritual code. It's not like Gemini changes their mind all the time. It's just that he sees so many possibilities at the same time, with so much lucidity, that choosing a single straight line would be betraying nature itself. Your soul is made of crossroads, not unique paths. Each choice is thought, felt, processed, and reevaluated in light of new information, new sensations, new intuitions that arrive all the time. This confuses those who live in rigidity, but for those who understand the flow of life, this is pure gold. This ability to operate between opposites makes Gemini an extremely adaptable sign. But here, once again, we need to go beyond the surface. Adaptability does not mean shaping yourself to please. It means recognizing the environment, understanding the other person's code, adjusting the frequency of one's own presence so that the right message reaches where it needs to go. This is spiritual intelligence. Gemini reads the field. Feel the movement of space before it manifests, and it moves with it, not out of weakness, but out of ancestral wisdom. Imagine a suspension bridge over an abyss. Anyone who walks on it needs balance, flexibility, keen perception, and confidence in each step. This is how Gemini lives. It supports the crossing between worlds, between reason and intuition, light and shadow, science and mysticism, and does so in an almost invisible way. Anyone observing from the outside may even think that he is just talking, exchanging ideas, telling stories, but those who really see know. Gemini is translating realities, sewing dimensions, connecting dots that without it would never meet. This ability becomes even more evident in moments of collective transition, and January 2026 is exactly that kind of moment, a phase in which all of humanity begins to question structures, to reevaluate values, to search for meanings that have been ignored for too long. And in this scenario, Gemini becomes essential, not because he is the strongest physically or the most emotionally stable, but because he is the most fluid mentally and spiritually. He navigates changes with agility, understands signs quickly, and more than that, you can translate them for others. That's why during this month, more awake Geminis will notice an increase in the number of people looking for them out of the blue to talk, vent, ask for advice, or simply be close. This is no coincidence. People unconsciously recognize where there is a bridge, where there is translation, where there is an answer, even if they don't know how to name it. And Gemini is that living portal. When it is in balance, its presence becomes a field of clarity for those who approach it. But be careful. If it is out of balance, this same sensitivity turns into overload. And here comes a point that many Geminis avoid facing. Excessive stimulation can become a trap. And because your mind works on multiple channels at the same time, it's easy to get lost among voices, ideas, requests, and sensations that aren't yours. In January, with the spiritual field more open and intuition more acute, this exposure intensifies. Therefore, it is essential that Gemini learn to filter, separating what comes from others and what comes from your own center. This is not selfishness. It's energetic self-care. It's not rejection. It's discernment. If you are a Gemini and feel that sometimes you get lost in yourself, as if your mind is too busy with thoughts that you don't even know where they came from, it's a sign that you need to ground, anchor in the breath, in the body, in the now, because only when you return to yourself, your duality becomes a bridge again and stops being a prison. You need your own clarity to continue being a channel for others, and that requires silence. It demands space. It demands a minimal spiritual routine that keeps you connected with your essence, with your truth. Remember, Gemini duality is not disorganization. It's multiplicity. It has expansion potential. But for this potential to manifest itself in the form of wisdom, it needs to be organized internally, not with rigidity, but with awareness. January is the ideal time to do this, to assume, with courage, the role that the universe has entrusted to you, that of sacred communicator, that of messenger between worlds, that of a living bridge between what people feel and what they still cannot name. And this brings us to another aspect of Gemini duality that is deeply misunderstood: its relationship to time. Gemini seems to live outside of chronological time. There are days when he anticipates too much, others when he completely disconnects from the collective rhythm. But this, far from being a problem, is another sign of its energetic function. Gemini does not live in linear time. He jumps between moments, relives memories, anticipates events. Your mind works like a psychic radar, and in January, that radar will be operating at full power. Therefore, if you notice that you are remembering things that have no apparent reason or having visions that seem out of place, don't be alarmed. This is you accessing parallel timelines. This is your system trying to show you patterns, solutions, answers. Pay attention. Keep a notebook nearby. Write it down. Record audio. Draw. The important thing is not to let this information slip away, because some of it only comes once, and if they are not registered, they disappear, and they take with them opportunities that may only return in another cycle. Everything we've talked about so far prepares you to understand in more depth why Gemini was chosen to carry this force in January 2026, and why your presence, your speech, your listening, and your awareness will be so necessary during this period. You will notice that the world around you is asking for more truth, more lightness, more lucidity, and you have this. It's in your code. But to serve the world, you must first embrace that power, and that starts now. If you saw yourself in these words, if at any point you felt like you were listening to yourself, I want you to speak truthfully now. Not just anything, not just to engage, but to mark that moment when you recognized yourself. Have you ever noticed how, at certain moments, reality seems to bend around your perception, as if everything around you is moving silently, sending signals that only you can decipher, even without understanding where they come from? If you are a Gemini, or live with someone of this sign, you have probably already witnessed this happen. But in January 2026, these moments will no longer be isolated. They will intensify, repeat, transform into a language, non-verbal, non-logical, but deeply spiritual, that demands attention. Gemini will be channeling the unseen, and the signs of this activation are as clear as they are mysterious. It all starts subtly, a chill that appears out of nowhere, in the middle of a public place, without wind, without cold, without explanation, just a wave that runs through the body and leaves a strange sensation in the air. Those who are disconnected ignore it. Anyone who is awake realizes that something has been transmitted. It is as if the environment released a frequency that your spiritual body recognized before your mind could even process it. This is no coincidence. This is tune. It's the first clue that your sensitivity has been activated, and that your mission in that place is not just to go unnoticed. You are there to capture it. And then comes the second signal. Words come out of your mouth before your mind formulates the sentence. You are surprised by what you said, as if you had channeled something, as if you were lending your voice so that another intelligence could manifest itself. This can happen in a banal conversation, in advice to a friend, or even in a loose thought, which you say out loud and then realize that it carried a truth that was not yours. It is at this moment that Gemini fulfills its highest spiritual role, that of transmitter of messages that do not belong to the common world. This verbal fluidity, when anchored in consciousness, is an instrument of healing, guidance, and transformation. And the most curious thing is that these phenomena do not come alone. They are accompanied by a persistent feeling of déjà vu, not that temporary déjà vu, which lasts seconds and disappears, but a kind of continuous recognition, as if everything you were experiencing had already been dreamed of before, as if you are remembering something at the exact moment it happens. This type of synchronicity is an indicator that you are walking on a parallel timeline, a frequency that accesses ancient records of your own soul. When Gemini enters this state, he is not just living, it is accessing, deciphering, crossing the portals between memory and destiny. January is one of the most favorable months for this crossing, and if you are paying attention, you must have already started to feel these echoes. Now, among all the signs, perhaps the most challenging is the inability to sleep during the early hours of the waxing moon. It's not common insomnia. It's as if your mind stays awake even when your body is exhausted, as if the silence of the early morning amplifies everything you feel, think, sense. It is in this space between tiredness and wakefulness that subtle messages often arrive. Don't try to combat them with distractions. These hours carry codes. What you feel during that time, the dreams you can't have, the thoughts that insist on coming back, the ideas that come out of nowhere, all of this has spiritual value. This discomfort is part of the process of tuning into higher realities. It's uncomfortable because it's true. It's disconcerting because it's revealing. And finally, there is a sign that few know how to interpret, the feeling that time is suspended, that everything around you seems still, as if the air were thicker, and the hours, for a moment, didn't move forward. You look at the clock and it seems frozen. You talk to someone and feel like you're talking outside of ordinary time. This is a real phenomenon. It's called subtle temporal displacement, and it happens when your mental frequency dissociates from linear time. In other words, it is the universe creating space for you to receive something that could not happen within the usual rhythm. When this happens, don't force the movement. Don't run. Don't try to fill it with tasks. Just breathe. The pause is the portal. Silence is the password. The feeling that something is hanging in the air is actually the announcement that something is being delivered to you in invisible layers. All these signs are not simple coincidences or random effects. They are part of a pattern, a map, a spiritual activation that is underway now, this January, and that fully reaches those who carry the Gemini archetype. It doesn't matter whether or not you believe in mediumship, channeling, or psychic gifts. If you feel it, it's because something is moving within you. Your body responds before you understand. Your intuition speaks before reason can translate. This is true Gemini sensitivity, an intelligence beyond the intellect, a connection that goes beyond the five senses. And if you've experienced any of these signs in the last few days, even if they seem small, even if you doubted it at the time, know that you're not alone. Every detail, every sensation, every shiver or dropped word has a purpose within this spiral of consciousness that is unfolding now. And the more you recognize these signs, the more the universe delivers. The more you become a channel, the more you get into flow. This is the mystical nature of Gemini, translating frequencies. And in January, the translation is constant. If you identify with all of this, I want you to tell me in the comments, but only if it's true. Don't comment on impulse. Comment with presence, with conscience, with abandon. This is where we need to take a deep breath and face a truth that, however uncomfortable it may be, is absolutely necessary for anyone who carries the Gemini frequency authentically. All light, when not directed, spreads too much and loses its strength. And with Gemini, this happens in a way that often goes unnoticed. The fast, brilliant, curious mind, when it is not anchored in discernment, becomes a distraction machine. January 2026 brings a specific warning to this, because although this is the month of activation and channeling, it is also the month in which many Geminis can get lost in exactly what they dominate most: excess connections. The presence of unstable Mars in this cycle adds a delicate layer to the Gemini energy. Mars is impulse, action, direction, and when your vibration is misaligned or poorly integrated, it becomes a trigger for thoughtless reactions, impulsive decisions, and internal ruptures. Gemini, who already naturally deals with the challenge of mental oscillation, starts to feel everything at a higher volume. Emotions which previously came and went fluidly can now cling, hold, accumulate. And that, for a sign that moves through air, can be a silent burden. Emotional dispersion is not just a matter of being in many places at once. It begins with the accumulation of small commitments that do not resonate with your truth. It starts when you say yes to please, when you enter into conversations that drain your energy, when you spend hours feeding thoughts that aren't even yours, but that were picked up by your overly sensitive psychic antenna. And from distraction to distraction, you move away from what you came here to do. Translate the invisible. You need to understand this with spiritual maturity. Gemini was not designed to get lost in the noise. It was shaped to find signal in chaos. But finding does not mean carrying. And often what weakens the Gemini is not the excess of information, but the lack of filter, the lack of silence, the lack of spiritual criteria about what is worth your attention, your energy, your listening. January asks you this. Challenge yourself in this. And if you don't observe yourself honestly, you can find yourself trapped in repetitive mental cycles, conversations that don't generate transformation, and commitments that drain your creative strength dry. You also need to be aware of the temptation of wanting to be understood all the time. One of the biggest blockages of Gemini energy in a high spiritual state is the need for external validation. When Gemini enters this mode, seeking to explain themselves, to justify themselves, to try to prove their depth to those who are not ready to receive it, the transmission field closes, because the Gemini's mission is not to be understood. It's being a channel, and the channel is not justified. Channel will do. Delivery channel. Channel empties to be filled again. If you live trying to convince others that your way of thinking makes sense, that your change of opinion has a logic, that your sensitivity is not an exaggeration, you are wasting your strength. January will require you to have the courage to accept that your vision is unique, and that therefore, it will not always be understood. And that's okay, because as long as you try to fit into the average conversations, the lukewarm relationships, the predictable cycles, your spiritual vision will be stifled. You were not born to inhabit the common. You were born to be an exception, to be a bridge, to be the one who says what no one can formulate, but everyone feels is true. Another trap that emerges more strongly during this period is that of empty productivity. Gemini, influenced by unstable Mars, can fall into the illusion that they need to always be doing, creating, speaking, moving, to validate their own value. But there is a huge difference between conscious movement and anxious agitation. January is the month in which the universe will ask you, is your movement aligned with your mission, or is it just serving to keep you busy and distracted? Because true Gemini power manifests itself when there is pause, when there is direction, when there is purpose in every word spoken and in every silence sustained. You also need to take care of the promises you make in this cycle. Gemini has a natural ease in connecting, in saying yes, in accepting invitations, in getting excited about new ideas. And that's beautiful when it comes with awareness. But in January, promising too much, assuming too much, committing to everything and everyone is leaving room for frustration and exhaustion. It's not about saying no out of fear. It's about saying yes only to what vibrates with your axis, what expands you, what takes you closer to your essence. Every time you make a promise just to please, just to maintain harmony, just to not disappoint, you install a small blockage in your field. And when these blockages accumulate, your connection with signs, with intuition, with dreams, begins to fail. You start to feel confused, tired, disconnected from yourself. But this can be avoided if you choose with more presence what you accept, what you support, what you carry. This January, the energy is intense, yes. It's accelerated, yes. But she is also offering you the chance to purify, to refine, to align. Your power is not in embracing everything. It's about knowing what to release, what is not yours, which doesn't need to be answered, which may just pass. Because the true Gemini channel is not the one who talks all the time. He is the one who listens to the silence and understands when he should be silent, when he should wait, when he should just observe the field before acting. If you are feeling this calling, this restlessness that seems formless but pulses like an insistent reminder in the back of your consciousness, know that it is not crazy. It's a warning. It's Mars taunting you, yes, but it's also Mercury whispering that you need to watch the direction your mind is pointing, because where your mind goes, your energy goes, and where your energy goes, your reality is shaped. And all of this you already know, But January comes to remind you strongly, you are not an ordinary sign. Its complexity is sacred. Its multiplicity is a gift. But for all of this to work in harmony, you need to make choices. Conscious choices. Spiritual choices. Choices that respect your nature and protect your channel. Life will continue to offer you invitations, ideas, people and paths. But only you can choose what serves your mission and what only serves your ego. And this choice will define how you go through this month, so full of codes, revelations, and activations. It is at this point on the path that the masks fall and the veil begins to lift. What have you experienced so far? These signs that repeat themselves, the words that come out without a filter, the dreams that have no explanation, the discomfort of feeling going too much, and the tiredness of pretending less. None of this is random. It's code. It is the energetic record of what you are being called upon. And this call does not come from outside. It's from no one but yourself, responding to an old memory that was dormant, but now pulses with more force every day of January. You feel, even if you can't explain it, even if you don't know how to put it into words, it's as if something bigger pushes you forward and at the same time pulls you inward. Gemini feels this in a unique way because it is the only sign that can listen to the world and the invisible at the same time. There's a reason this is your month, a reason that goes beyond astrological alignments, beyond predictions, beyond behavioral trends. January 2026 did not choose Gemini by chance. He chose it because he needed a channel from someone who translated the invisible layers of time into something understandable, from someone who took the chaos of the new era and turned it into bridges, in phrases that awaken, in words that don't console but shake, because that's what the world needs right now. No more easy truths, but from those who have the courage to say what needs to be said. You are not just the sign of communication. You are the sign of the language of the spirit. And when this language manifests itself, it does not follow rules. It does not fit into prepared speeches. It does not conform to conventions. It comes like a breath. It comes like an arrow. It comes as a whisper that passes through and leaves an impression. And the most impressive thing is that you, Gemini man or woman, do this almost without realizing it. You speak, and on the other side, someone wakes up. You write, and on the other side, someone cries. You share something simple, and without understanding how, you start receiving messages saying, "This changed my day. This was all I needed to hear. This felt like it was made for me." And it was, because you are the translator of the invisible, and when you are aligned with your essence, your mission is accomplished effortlessly. But be careful. This mission is only accomplished when you stop trying to fit in, stop wanting approval, stop reducing your intuition to fit rational discourse, stop editing your truth so it doesn't bother you. Because yes, your word will bother you, it will move. Go confront. But that's what it exists for. You didn't come to please. You have come to awaken. And that, in itself, is an enormous spiritual responsibility. Gemini carries within itself a little understood gift. The gift of reorganizing collective thinking, not just for logical intelligence, but for the ability to access the deepest areas of human consciousness and reorganize them with a simple sentence, with a look, with a question. You don't need to know everything. You just need to be connected enough to allow what needs to be said to come through you. And that requires surrender. It requires emotional maturity. It requires that you choose every day to serve the truth instead of serving your ego. This mission is not linear. It's not clean. It will be confusing, sometimes lonely, because most people are still sleeping. And you, Gemini, feel this. You walk into places and realize there's more going on than what's being said. You talk to someone and you know that what they are saying is not what they are feeling. You read a text, watch a video, listen to a song, and capture what's behind it. And if you keep pretending that you don't feel all of this, you'll only hurt yourself, because you weren't born for the superficial. You were born to decipher the unsaid. That's why this moment matters so much. January isn't just activating your spiritual field. It's positioning you, preparing you for a new cycle of conscious manifestation of your mission. And this mission begins with presence, with listening, with choice. Because even with all the gifts you carry, you still have to choose to use them. You need to choose to commit to how you feel. You need to choose to be a channel, even when it isolates you, even when no one understands, even when everything seems confusing. Gemini, when in its highest vibration, becomes an alchemist of language. Use words as swords and also as cures. Knows exactly what to say and when to say it. And when you are silent, silence also communicates. Your body is language. Your eyes speak. Your energy teaches. And whoever is around, even without knowing why, will feel pierced by some truth. This is mission. And mission cannot be negotiated. If you live, the month is calling you to accept this. To assume that even if the world is not yet ready to understand everything you carry, you are ready to become who you always were. And, yes, this requires you to drop some paperwork. Stop explaining yourself, stop doubting, stop trying to prove something. You don't need to prove it. You just need to be. You just need to keep saying what needs to be said, even if your voice shakes. Keep writing, even if you think no one will understand. Keep feeling me, even if they try to convince you that it's an exaggeration, because it's all part of it, and you already know that. He just needed to remember. Maybe now, in this moment when you're listening to me, the pieces will start to fall into place. Maybe now you understand why you felt out of place for so long. Because he seemed to live between two worlds. And in fact, he did. Maybe now you realize that it was never about being a social, communicative, versatile sign. It was always about being a portal between dimensions. It was always about translating messages that only you could capture. It has always been about waking up those who have not yet understood that we are going through a time where nothing is superficial anymore, where each word carries a mission, where every silence is also a choice. And now I want you to take a deep breath and feel all of this in your body. Where did these words touch you? In what part of your being did you notice something vibrating differently? What memory were you thrown into while listening to this? Because these are clues. And if you have paid attention until now, if you have chosen to remain until this point in the journey, it is because you carry this seal. There's no point in denying it, it's in you. And it's not small, it is ancient code, spiritual record. You didn't get here by chance. You have been called. And if that makes sense to you, if some part of you said yes while listening, then I want you to comment now, but with truth, with presence, with the certainty of someone who assumes, right? If you stayed this far, it's because some part of you felt this call, and that already says a lot about your connection with everything we've talked about. So, now is the time to act with awareness. Subscribe to the channel to continue this spiritual journey with me, because what is to come will further deepen everything you have already awakened today. Leave a like if this video made sense to you, not only as a gesture of support, but as a confirmation that this message reached you at the right time. And if you want to continue unlocking the mysteries that surround the signs and invisible codes of the universe, the next video is already here on the screen on the left side waiting for you. Click now and stay with me. Your mission is just beginning.